This Shabbat, we read in the Torah the story of Moses on the mountain after the Jews have sinned from the golden calf, and he's asking God for forgiveness, and God is forgiving the Jewish people. In the middle of the dialogue between God and Moses, Moses requests from God, Har'eni na et kvodecha. Please show me your glory. Moses asks God to show him who he really is, to have a real deep understanding of God and how God works in the world. God tells him, Lo tuchal lirot et panai. You will not be able to see my face. Vera'ita tachorai. You'll be able to see my back. And then we have the imagery where God says, you're going to come to the mountain and you're going to stand on a rock. And then I'm going to put you in a crevice of a rock. V'samticha b'nikrat hatzur. And I'm going to cover you with my hand. I'm going to pass before you. You're going to see my back, but you're not going to see my face. Very beautiful imagery, but sometimes difficult to understand. What exactly is God's face, God's back? What was Moses asking? What was God replying? Rashi, the foremost commentary of the Torah, based on the Midrashic and the tradition, is that God told Moses, you requested forgiveness for the Jewish people for their sin. Let me teach you how to prepare yourself and how to elicit God's forgiveness, my forgiveness. How do we deepen our connection to God? And God told him so far, I'm going to show you my forgiveness, my 13 attributes of mercy. You're going to see me in an imagery of so-called God wearing a talit, a prayer shawl. And you're going to see me wearing Tefillin. I'm going to pass before you. You're going to see the back of the talit, the back of myself. And our sages say that God showed Moses the knot of Tefillin. In the back of the Tefillin, there's a knot. And this knot, with the shape of a Dalet, one of the letters of God's name, is what holds the Tefillin on the head. Now, obviously, God's not a physical talit, not a physical Tefillin. But we understand that God also wears Tefillin. Just like we have Tefillin and connect to God, so too God has Tefillin to connect to us. And in that Tefillin, which is the glory, which is sort of like a crown, there's a knot. And that knot is in the back. And God was telling Moses, in order to connect and reconnect and ask for forgiveness, we have to have a talit and tefillin, and especially a knot of tefillin. A knot is something that reminds us when we forget. Sometimes we want to remember something. People would make a bow, a knot, tie a knot around your finger, or tie a knot on a string just to remember that something, you have to remember something. And the same thing here, when we are forgetful, or we forget our mission, our purpose, our connection to God, we have a knot to remind us. And that's the knot of tefillin and the knot of the tzitzit, and that's on the talit. And that's actually what we do. We pray every day with a talit. We pray every day with tefillin in the weekdays in order to deepen our connection and remind us of who we are and connect to the divine talit and tefillin. I hope to see you in the synagogue on Shabbat to read that beautiful story, to deepen our understanding of this story, God's mercy, God's kindness, God's forgiveness, Moses praying on behalf of the Jewish people and having that connection. On Sunday, the women are having the mega Challa bake. And it's fascinating that in the Challa bake, they also braid the Challa. We braid Challa before Shabbat. Perhaps there's a connection also of remembrance, rebinding, retying. They're going to be making Challa from scratch, making the prayers on Challa, reciting the prayers on Challa, asking God to send us the redemption, send those who are in captivity in Israel to be redeemed and be freed. So, all the women, if you haven't signed up for this mega Challa bake, please do so. JewishWomen'sCircle.com. Shabbat Shalom.